guys, welcome back to another video. Back in Matt's shed again, down at All Automotive Warrnambool, and it's been a bit of a jump since the last video, so I'll show you what we're up to. Alright, so the last you would have seen was that we had it all prepped ready for welding. I'm still working full time at the moment, so I haven't been able to be here today, but basically Matt got the steel folded up from the shop and then started tacking it on. So you can see some of it's been tacked on, whole walls on, just tacks and little stitch welds here and there. But obviously you can see we've got the RHS to it for strength, and then the ribs in the middle for extra strength, plus it looks way nicer. I hate when they've just got the flat panel. And then that top section is ready for the big 79 series window. So yeah, that's basically what we're up to. It's a pretty slow process getting it all welded on, but hopefully tomorrow I get through a bit more while I'm at work. I've just given the whole interior a good vacuum out for them, just so it's easier for them to work out. Sort of just, yeah, grinder dust and welding splatter and stuff all over the shop, so give it a good clean. I'll film it when we actually get up to it, but obviously those two bottom pieces down there and over that side, they'll be getting templates made up and fully welded there too, so that'll all be blocked in. Obviously this all gets welded in, and then we're just waiting for some laser cuts that Matt gets done up to weld in here. Some shops don't do that and it's just sort of half-assed, but basically from the top there all the way down, that'll all be sealed up and welded off like factory. Otherwise obviously water and stuff could reach in there, dust, whatever, because it's just a cavity for it to sit in. So yeah, that'll all be welded off and try and make it look as factory as possible. And then outside all gets welded, but inside it gets seam sealed. So obviously seam seal all along those joins, bottom, all up in there, and then at the top, down the sides, basically everywhere we can get it. And then once the seam seal and that's done and paint's done, then we can, hopefully by then my car builder stuff's here, and this same sound deadening stuff here will just stick on over all of that, all there, and all the roof and the walls too. So yeah, we'll see what we get up to tomorrow, I guess. So I'm starting to do a little bit of tray planning as well. I'm going to probably take these coils out so I can sit on bump stops, because I want to see where the wheels are going to sit in comparison to the chassis, just for bump clearance and that. Because basically my plan is, so I'll have a tray mount. I'm hoping the engineer's happy for me to cut here. If so, there'll be a tray mount at the very end there. We're probably going to do 6 tray mounts all up just to keep the engineer happy. So there should be one here, and then one there, and then obviously same on the other side. And so basically my plan with the tray, I'll draw it up and show you guys, but basically it'll, the sort of base, the floor of it will just be the width of the chassis, length of the chassis, and then back around. And then the sides are actually going to flare up for clearance, but I think it'll also look cool. Plus, if I was to have it all one height, for clearance it'd have to sit up really high like that, which means back here it'd sit up high, and you'd have big brackets from those chassis mounts, those tray mounts. There'd be big brackets to lift it up even higher, and you'd see under it all. It'll make more sense once I actually do it, but I just reckon it'll keep it much cleaner and look really sleek. So I've already done sort of a cutting list, but I'll be doing sort of a whole segment just for the tray build. But I'm just sort of showing you as I'm prepping and sort of planning some stuff. That's the cab mount there, so that's going to get cut off. So I'll just try to cut the welds and break that off, then sand it all back. What else? I've just been sort of going over everything while it's all open, exposed too. I've got a new fuel filler cap. This is a pretty simple one for now, but basically when I open that up, you can see there's 3 mounting holes. So that's going to allow me to either mount it on the flat bed of the tray or to the side and just give me a nice flush look. That's just a BCF one. It's actually for a boat, but that literally costs 15 bucks. You can get nicer polished ones for like 100 bucks, but for now it gets me out of trouble because this was the original one here. Obviously a dual filler neck for when you got sub and main, or if you've got gas and petrol. But obviously that's going to look gross on a tray, so that's come off. Obviously cleaned up all the wiring, and then I've rerun some wiring, and then I've just been going over and cleaning everything. Obviously I haven't pressure washed anything, but just pulling brackets and stuff off. Like there's bracket here, bracket there, brackets down the side that just aren't needed anymore for the cab. So yeah, just doing bits and pieces while I can. I just took my coils out then, just so I can sort of get a rough idea on where the chassis sits on full bump. So my tray is going to sort of sit there, so I just need to make sure that the piece that flares up is going to clear that on full bump. But I sort of need to actually get articulation as well, because when one wheel flexes up, the wheel's not going to sit dead level, it's going to be up there and closer to the chassis. So I'll have to sort of do a more accurate test later on. Bit more progress on this side. Got that plate cut in, tacked up. Same with the little panel down there, and on that side. Alright, I've just knocked off work for the day. As you can see, the boys have got heaps done. So basically finished all the welding, and then they've started grinding it back and sanding it. There's a few spots that aren't perfect yet, but as you can see, there's just a bit that still needs to be welded and grinded back. But yeah, I'd say it's about 90% done. And then after work, I just grabbed some stuff. So these are the tray mounts I got. So I ordered these from PSR, but because PSR are known for bloody 6-month wait times, I got my mate, Blake Mills, who works at Enhanced Auto Works. Shout out to him. He grabbed these, picked them up from PSR, and then express overnight them down to me. So I literally ordered these last night, and they're already here. So I should only need the front two, middle two, and those ones I won't need the back two as we're cutting off the chassis. These usually come with bracing as well, but the engineer doesn't really want the bracing on the chassis, so I've just got these down. And then Blake sent me down this little kit too, so shout out to Blake. So I've got a couple of stubby holders, a shirt, stickers, and then these are the mud flaps that I'll be running. So that'll go there, hopefully keep me out of trouble from the cops. I just picked up a hose clamp and a BSP fitting as well, because I changed the fuel cap thing. So with the tub, you've obviously got that, not the tub, sorry, with the cab, you've got that for the dual fuel. But now that I'm going to tray, I got this one, which I'll obviously get a longer hose, but this one, if I undo this, you'll see there's the 3 holes to mount this anywhere. But I just didn't have a hose clamp for here, so that'll go there. And then I'll take that out, the breather line, it's not super important, so I'll just plug that with this, and then we should be good. Engineer has approved the cutting, so he said he's happy for us to cut it wherever, but basically he wants this set up to go back in. So I'm going to try and cut those welds, just unstitch it all, and then hopefully that whole piece can just slide forward as far as possible, and that will sort of determine where the chassis finishes. So other than that, I'll also have to cut off that mount there, same on the other side, prep the chassis, and then basically just line these tray mounts up and tack them on tonight. So this is the plan they give you for the tray mounts, and basically I've just simplified it because I'm only using the 3. So if I sit this bit of steel flush with the end of the chassis like that, that's going to be my measuring point, level across. So for the first one, it'll be 535mm to the center of the mount. So if I measure off that, 535 to the center of that hole, I've sort of marked it there with the white marker there. That's where that one's going. So I'm going to tack that one on in a minute. The only thing I've got to just double check on as I tack them on is just which way they roll across. I want them to be nice and level from mount to mount. So yeah, that's obviously how that one works. And then for the second mount, it's 1552, and for the third, it's 1785. I'll cross-check all them to each other with these measurements here. As you can see, that's sort of the whole map out, but rather than measuring in between them, I'll do a running measurement because it's more accurate. So yeah, that's the plan. So I'm just going to tack these on and make sure that it all works, as well as make sure that the front two mounts actually fit where I've done my chop, because obviously this kit won't suit every space cab. Sometimes they might have to move up the chassis rail or backwards to spread out. But because mine's only a 200mm space cab, I reckon that first one should be about here, give me plenty of clearance, and the second one will be about here. But whereas if you were to do like a 400mm space cab, that first mount might hit, so you may either not use that one and just use the back three, or you might have to try to squish them together. But yeah, I don't think that'll be an issue for me, so that's just the way I'm going to do it. I think that's going to be the most accurate way to do it, and then it's just making sure I measure from outside to outside of the mounts, make sure they're all parallel. I think it says on here as well what that width should be. I think, yeah, so it's basically 1200, 1198, 1198, and that first one, which I'm not using, is 1191. Oh, so is that one. So I'll make sure those two are that measurement, and that one is that little bit smaller. And then I'll weld them off once I'm happy with them all. I just got that first cab mount off, just so I'd run you through how I found the easiest way to do it. So basically, you've got a weld up the top, weld there and weld there. So all I did, just so you weren't trying to break it all off in one, is I cut that off there to get the body out of it. And then I just cut from there, which it's not welded, across to there, which separates that piece. Then cut from there to there, separates that piece. Then that one can just hit up, that one can hit across, and that one can hit across. And that way there's less strength in them because they're all separate, so that worked well. And I just whacked the shit out of them with the hammer. And now I'll cut these last little pieces off, grind it all back smooth, and we should be good. So I still haven't ground them back perfectly, but they're all off now. I've cut that one off there. That one can stay because it's getting cut off on the chassis. So now I've just marked my final measurement for the chassis cut, so I'm about to square it all neatly. So that pen mark there, so it's basically 450mm off the end of the chassis to there, which gives me a little bit after my tray mount there. And then basically what I'm trying to do is unstitch this, so that's going to come out and slide up, and that should sit there. That bit won't be able to stay in, so I'm just going to talk to the engineer tomorrow about whether he needs something else that comes along on the angle, whether it's on top or something. I'll have to find out tomorrow, but for now I'm just trying to separate that from the chassis and from that. But because there's stitches underneath too, I can't be bothered hopping underneath, so I'll cut this first, then this whole piece will come off, and I'll be able to just unstitch it from above then. Just finished cutting through the chassis. Now I'm just going to do a couple cross checks, make sure it's all square still on both sides, parallel, and grind back if I need to. But pretty happy with how the cuts look, and you'll get a good idea of that sort of departure angle now, how crazy it's going to be. We're back inside now, all finished up for the night. Chassis all ground back, nice and smooth, ready for the tray mounts. And then I cleaned up the rear chop and cross-checked it all, and it's millimetre perfect. And I put the straight edge through there, and all 4 points touch, so pretty happy with that. Might try get these tray mounts tacked on tonight if we get a chance. Alright, another update. It's the next day. I didn't end up getting those tray mounts on last night. We just ran out of time. The boys have had a huge day here though. It's all sanded back, all nice and neat. And then obviously just got primer over it at the moment, but it looks mint. And then they've cut out the window. and then put some seam sealer along that line there. And then if we go inside, it's all sealed in there around all the edges, ready for the glass to go in tomorrow. It was supposed to go in today, but the bloke that was supposed to be doing it, just ended up being way too busy. So hopefully get that in tomorrow. But now that this is all fully done, I can put all the sound deadening in now. I'm leaving the interior out for the weekend for this show. But yeah, that's huge. That's awesome to see it at this stage. Looks so neat. So shout out to Matt and the boys here. Killer job. I'll show you the window too. Matt organised this today, picked it up from the glass store, and then took it down to the sticker shop to get this made up. Chopped by All Automotive Warrnambool, just for a bit of promo for this show, and then I'll leave it on for a while. It just may in the future, because it's basically a flat sticker, there's no transparency to it, so in the future I might get that tinted, and then he can redo his stickers if he wants. That way he can keep his promo there, but just allowed me to actually have a window. But for this weekend, this is going to look sick. We just finished tacking these tray mounts on. After a few cross checks and that, we got it millimeter perfect. So the far back one, just at the very end of the chassis for strength. Then those two go there. Cross checked all the points from tray mount to tray mount and all that. They're all the same on both sides. And then did diagonal both ways. And it's perfectly square as well. So now I'm just going to take my final measurements for my tray, figure out what angles I need to do for those flare bits, and then I can start cutting up for the tray. But the whole tray build will be a separate video. So for now, for tonight, that's probably all I'll film. And then I'll pick up the camera tomorrow once we get that window in. And then basically after that, it'll just be me getting ready for the show. Back at the shed once again. I've just started wiring up these tail lights. Just taped them in for now, just to double check I got everything right, which I did. Got the parkers, indicators, and brakes all work. I picked up some of this stuff. So some waterproof connectors so that I can disconnect the lights when I take the tray off. Conduit to neaten it up, wiring, and plenty of tape. And then I've got some heat shrink here too. So I'll neaten all this up now that I've double checked it all. Keep heaps of extra cable long, and set up the connectors, tape it all off, and then it'll be ready for the tray. Alright, so I've been making some progress on these tail light wiring, and as I was doing that, the windscreen shop came over and got this back window in. So it looks awesome. Obviously it's got the big sticker print on it for All Automotive, just for now. And then for now they've just done an external seal on it, because when we do the full paint job, that'll have to come back out. So that just means it's easier to get in and out for now. And then once paint's fully done, the stickers will come off, we'll tint that, and then the seal will go on the inside, which will make it look a little bit neater. But even how that is now, it just looks good. Good to have a window in and the cab to be fully watertight again. Obviously that's what it looks like from the inside, so you don't get any vision through that sticker. But yeah, with the wiring, I finished doing all the pinouts for this. So I've got this all organised into these waterproof connectors, nice and neat. And then I've just done this messy little organisation just so I know which ones are which, because those 4 colours there are slightly different to my trailer plug wiring that I'm using. So that's just so I can cross-reference everything and not get it wrong. So I've done the male end. Now I'm just going to wire up the female end on this harness, and then we should be good to go. I just finished finalising these wires. So all the plugs are done. everything's working how it should. Connectors are very nice to use, easy to sort of work with, and yeah, should keep it all waterproof. And then I've also teed in my trailer plug, so now I've just got to tape it all off, finish conduiting it all. I've conduited all this back, so all this wiring is double taped and conduited, so it's going to be super neat under the tray. It's going to look sick. If anyone's wondering too, these are just off eBay. You just type in sequential indicators or sequential tray lights and they should come up for like, I think 20 bucks for a set. Yeah, I just reckon they're sick having the sequential indicators on them. And then Matt's come through and welded off these tray mounts too. Just putting stitches here and there. You don't need to fully weld them off. Alright, so it's actually a couple days later now. We just finished up at the car show yesterday, which is a great success. So shout out to car builders for inviting me down. It's pretty cool to see everyone's reactions to the chop. No one was expecting it, so it's pretty funny to see that. Got this tray made up the night before. We worked until 4:30 AM getting this tray done, which isn't the finished product. Obviously there's no floor, no headboard, no canopy, anything like that. I just wanted to get it basically a simple setup just for the show, just so that there's lights and stuff on it. But yeah, I'll finish that tray on another video. So just wrapping up this video for now of everything else we've done. I'm trying to think of what I haven't shown you. We've got all the new suspension in from Superior. So that's 13-inch rear shocks, remote res. The whole rear end's just riding like shit at the moment just because there's no weight. Basically the coils are just hitting stiff as, even though they're the lightest coils you can get on the market. So just is needing more weight for it to be comfortable. All the wiring, I taped that up and ran that neatly, or somewhat neatly for now, but it's all conduited and taped so it's safe. Put in front shocks too, Superior as well, because I'm going to be working with Superior on a few projects coming up. And these, yeah, they feel good in the front for now, and they're a 12-inch shock with the 50mm raised towers in there. And then if I go inside, the interior is back together partly, just seats and stuff. And then back here I got all the car builder stuff, so I'll pull this out in a minute. But basically I've got stuff for the roof to line all that with, and sound deaden that, back wall as well, and then the little side panels in here too. And then basically I can put all the interior back together. I've got to cut that roof liner to the new size, and then I've got to make up a custom rear wall out of MDF, probably line it all and do a pretty cool speaker setup of some sort. But all that sort of stuff's going to be separate videos. So there'll be a video for the interior stuff, a video for the tray stuff, and then a video for all the paint and final sort of body work. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this new series. Just been a flat out week this week. I think it took us 7 days to get the chop done, and that was a huge week between sort of me and the boys at All Automotive, and then some of my mates that helped me out with the tray. Yeah, probably spent over 100 something hours. It's been crazy, but we got there, and I'm keen to see what it looks like when this is all done. And then here's another little sneak peek to the other new project, Peyton's 80 series, which we'll be doing a lot of videos on as well. And there's Kiki, chilling with her footy. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.